we foresee that proceeding expeditiously.
All right.
Your Honor, our proposal is that the defendants file motions to dismiss on no later than Thursday, the 15th at noon, that any responses from the plaintiff be filed on Saturday, the 17th at noon, and that any replies be filed on Sunday, the 18th by 5 p.m., with the goal, if the court schedule would allow it, of holding oral argument sometime on Monday, because the Secretary does believe that the court will be able to dispose of this case in its entirety on motions to dismiss without the need for an evidentiary hearing.
If that happens, and they get and this case gets thrown out for standing, or any other BS account like that, then I will be absolutely floored. There's so much data and evidence that needs to be looked at from this last election. And I'm not saying that it was stolen, and I'm not saying that any malfeasance were done on purpose. I'm not saying, I don't know any of that. But what I do know is that there were a lot of anomalies once again, and a lot of things that have happened. And it's our constitutional right in America to be able to question elections. We are allowed to. It's not against the law. We're not an election denier. We are allowed to question what happened with an election. That is one of our constitutional rights. And there were a lot of things that happened in this election that need to be looked at. So I really hope that this does not get thrown out for standing like every other case has, because the judges are too scared to look at the evidence, because the judges know if they look at the evidence, they're going to find that something bad took place. They need to do their job and stand up and protect the Constitution, not protect the money behind these people.
Okay. Does anybody else want to be heard about that time frame?
Your Honor, Thomas Lee from the Maricopa County Defendants. We can agree to abide by the schedule just presented to you by Mr. Gaona, and we also anticipate filing a motion to dismiss.
Okay.
Of course. I wouldn't expect anything else other than motion
The
to dismiss.
governor-elect also agrees with that schedule.
Of course.
Okay. Mr. Blam?
Your Honor, I'm going to defer this question to co-counsel Kurt Olson, if I may.
Kurt Olson's a beast.
Your Honor, before Mr. Olson addresses the court, is he admitted pro hoc vice yet?
I haven't seen a request.
Kurt Olson is a pit bull.
Of doing that, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. But so, Mr. Blam, do you want to talk to me
Mr.
about
Blam,
what you think should be the schedule on the motion to dismiss? Mr. Blam, are you there?
Mr. Blam.
Mr. Blam, can you hear me?
Going once.
I can hear you, Your Honor. I apologize. I, for some reason, left the room.
I was a boomer and I put it on mute.
Okay. Well,
Oh, I don't know if anybody's ever going to watch this stream, but the reason I'm all wrapped up is because I tested positive for the COVIDs the other day, so I'm feeling okay, though. My smell is still messed up and my taste is still messed up, but I'm getting better. But if you are watching it, hello. Please click like, subscribe, and all that happy stuff.
Mr. Olson has not been admitted yet. He is in the process of his Pro Hac Vice application, but I was asking for your input with regard to that proposed schedule.
We are fine with that, Your Honor.
And in terms of an order, Your Honor, this is Andy Gaona again on behalf of Secretary Hobbs in her official capacity. We would just ask that your order reflect that all
Of course, Katie is not there.
filings with respect to the motion to dismiss be served by email and Turbo Court. And of course, we would provide courtesy copies to the court's judicial assistant at the same time.
They better not throw this
And
out for standing.
plaintiff agrees with that, Your Honor. And really quickly, I would like to know what time their motion to dismiss will be done.
You know, it's really interesting that when you have nothing to hide, you have no problem being on camera or showing up. Carrie Lake, no problem being there. She did nothing wrong. I'm not saying Katie did either, but she has threatened Cochise County and Mojave County that if they did not certify, she was going to throw them in jail. Those are BS charges. She cannot do that. And she's not even in here today. She was called to be here today in her capacity, and she's not here. That stinks. It stinks. She should be there. She should be there at this trial like the rest of them.
Well, hold on a second.
And so I guess what I'm looking for here.
Proposal they've got is Thursday at noon to file. Saturday, the 17th for response. And when did you say the reply?
Your Honor, my proposal was Sunday, the 18th by 5 p.m. On the assumption that the court has room on its calendar on Monday for an oral argument and to provide the court enough time to read the fully briefed motions.
Okay, and what were you envisioning for oral argument time? I mean, how much time?
As much as it
Your Honor,
takes.
given that there
The country's
will
at
be
stake.
3 moving parties, I would imagine we'd probably need an hour.
An hour per each side.
An hour total, Your Honor.
What?
Well,
Only an hour?
Your Honor, I think that's way inadequate.
Yeah.
well, I was thinking at least an hour each side.
Thank
I
you.
mean, if we've
There's a
got
lot
three
in-
different
in-
parties speaking the motions.
There's a lot there to go over.
So, okay, so that would be, and then what are you thinking about an actual hearing?
Well,
Or,
really quickly, Your Honor, given there are going to be 3 moving parties, would anybody object to us doing a consolidated response?
Your Honor, Secretary Hobbs would have no objection to a consolidated response.
Yeah, that's not bad because
Your Honor, Maricopa County would have no objection.
The governor-elect would have no objection.
that sounds fair to me.
Thank you.
I like that
Or
idea.
What about,
Because Fincham and Lake both had the same fight, so.
okay, so oral argument on the 19th is what you're proposing, and then in the event that we go past the motion to dismiss, setting a hearing when?
I would envision we would have a hearing. We've got to hold a trial in this matter within 10 days after service, Your Honor. So maybe
Well, okay, go ahead.
Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday or Tuesday afternoon, Your Honor.
Well-
You need time to, of course, issue your orders.
Right. I was thinking Wednesday, looking at the timing of this, this is a statutory creature, and I've tried to be very careful about looking at the times involved. So I have to leave myself a little bit of time, a reasonable amount of time to rule to go through.
That's a good sign. That's a
things.
good sign is he wants
And
to go through it.
so, if we do the hearing
Maybe we
hearing
actually have a judge this
Wednesday.
time that will actually
How
listen to
much
the
time are
merits
we
of the
envisioning on
case.
that? I was,
And a 1 day, essentially a 1 day hearing should give the plaintiffs the opportunity to make whatever case they believe they have, a case we believe is non-existent, that
course
this
you believe
election
it.
should be overturned, and they can make whatever arguments they need to at that point. Moreover, Your Honor, I would add that I do not believe that an evidentiary hearing is necessary, and it's our belief that the court will
Of
be
course not.
dismissing this action after its consideration of the motions to dismiss.
They better not dismiss this without looking at the evidence first. There is tons of evidence. Invalid signatures, machines going down that could only go down from malfeasance. You have tons of voters that were disenfranchised all across Maricopa County. They need to listen to this because there is a lot there to be looked at. And I don't really care who wins the governorship. If Katie Hobbs wins it, great. If Kari Lake wins it, great. But there's a lot of things that went down that should not have gone down. And one judge across this country needs to finally step up and do the right thing. Too many judges have thrown out these cases without even looking at the evidence, and there is mountains of evidence of irregularities and all kinds of stuff. And I'm not saying any of this, is criminal or, I don't know what happened. I'm just reacting to what I've seen. But I've seen a lot of evidence that shows that a judge should at least take the time to look at it.
we've done pretty well up to now with staying away from advocacy. We've basically tried to antiseptically analyze where we are. I'd like to stick with that analysis. If we're talking 3 days from the 21st to the 23rd, then
At least in this case, it's ample time to do that. And I believe, Your Honor, the statute says the trial will be continued from day to day.
you're right. It does say that, but it also contemplates that I have the opportunity to have time for ruling, and that takes it up to 5 days. And if part of the problem is the volume of the evidence here. And so while
Thank
I
you,
can read
Judge.
before the trial, read it afterwards, it's also the focus of the motion in limine or the motion to dismiss. I anticipate that the trial will be more along the lines of focusing on the most pertinent points
Exactly.
to point out to the court with
Exactly.
regard to the issues in 672 are fairly discrete. And so that would be the focus of the hearing.
The own laws that Katie Hobbs put in place, they broke. The judge needs to look at this case. There were laws broken, voters disenfranchised. And like I said, I'm not pulling for one candidate or the other. I just want to have elections that are free and fair. I don't want to have somebody that's installed or selected like you do in totalitarian, communist type countries. I want to have a free and fair election. I want to know that when I vote, my vote goes for the candidate that I chose. I'm an independent. I'm not one way or the other. I just want to have free and fair elections. And I like the way what this judge is saying so far. The judge is talking a pretty good game so far. Hopefully he will continue to have balls and look at this case.
So I'm going to set the hearing for 2 days for December 21st and 22nd.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So if we want to be heard, I will listen, Mr. Gaona.
I was just say, Your Honor, I think there was a slight, just a slight correction that I think that there will be 3 separate motions to dismiss. but Mr. Blem talked about a consolidated response that we had agreed on.
You're right. I understand. But do you agree with the characterization that the positions of the defendants are fairly unified in terms of the issues?
Yeah.
In terms of the issues, that's probably generally true, Your Honor, and I have no objection to the defendants collectively splitting that half of the time,
Okay.
if that's the question.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Yep.
it is.
This
Mr.
is an
Moody?
important case. This is an important case in many ways, also because of the Brunson case that the Supreme Court's getting ready to potentially take a look at. This is all wrapped into the same thing. I believe that if this judge actually looks at the merits of this case and looks at the evidence and decides to move forward with an actual hearing, I believe that will give the kick in the right direction that the Supreme Court needs in order to look at this Brunson case, which is the Kerry Lake case is a very interesting case in itself. The Brunson case is amazing what they put together, and I just hope that I'm sure Alito and Thomas will take a look at it. You know, then you need you need a total of 4 justices from the Supreme Court to look at a Supreme Court case. So if Alito and Thomas, they will probably do it. Gorsuch, he should do it. And then then I don't know who the other one would be. None of the other ones, they say that they're one way, but they never vote that way. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, if the judge takes this case in Arizona, I believe that will give the Supreme Court the right push that it needs to at least look, and take the Brunson case to the next step.
Your Honor, for the Maricopa County, the Board of Supervisors, and Maricopa County Recorder, we would agree to split the time with other defendants.
Personal identifying information redacted from them. So there is no PII that we need to be concerned with in that matter.
Spider-Man.
With respect to Shelby Bush's declaration. And so in that regard, Your Honor, we prefer they not be sealed. And
Is that Fincham talking?
It's tab C, Your Honor.
Oh no,
Yes, pardon?
Brian.
I didn't catch the last thing.
Yeah, Shelby Bush's declaration is tab C,
That's it.
but we don't believe they need to be sealed because they're not PII, and they are excellent
Right.
examples of just exactly how the county can.
Declaration. So all those, specifically the signatures of the voters that render them susceptible, vulnerable to voter ID theft, to ID theft.
What you're asking for is the affidavit plus the attachments.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's correct.
Yep, that makes sense. I think there's like thousands of affidavits.
And Your Honor, if I just may one last time, there is no potential voter theft just because all the PII has been removed. And we think that these are exhibits the public needs to see.
Yeah,
The public needs to be aware of how Maricopa County is conducting its elections, Your Honor.
Absolutely.
And, that's our position.
Okay, well, that's part of the point of the hearings, but none of this has been briefed. And I have an oral motion simply to protect voter. Oral motion simply to protect voter information, so I can either err on the side of caution and
well, the voter
grant the
information, you
request,
can look that up on
or
their
take your
website.
word for it, Mr. Blem, that there's no harm, no foul, and leave it out.
You can get a FISA request and ask for the voter data. I could do that, and I don't even live in Arizona. So you need to protect people to an extent, but a lot of this information you can get public knowledge. FISA requests, ask for the voter roll. And yeah, I mean, a lot of this information is public information.
Out there. I'm going to err on the side of caution and protect the information so that the voter information is not disclosed. However, it is fully part of this case and can be used by the parties
Yep.
in their counsel. So my ruling is going to stay the same on that. With
you, Your
regard, okay,
Your Honor,
yes,
sorry to interrupt. Alexis Daneman, one point of clarification on the motion to dismiss briefing. I know that the plaintiff will file a consolidated response, but I just want to clarify that we will still intend to file 3 separate reply briefs.
Yeah. And then the hearing, it's referred to in the statute as a hearing, so I'll set the 2-day hearing, December 21st and 22nd.
For all parties.
Okay.
Wanted to ask if we can set a briefing schedule, because I imagine
Your statement and then your request, and then the other side can respond, and you can provide that timely. So, all right. How much time do you need to respond? It says the statute starts, subpart A says, after the statement of contest has been filed and the action is at issue. Either party may have the ballots inspected before preparing for trial. So legally, when the action's at issue becomes operative.
Yep.
And Your Honor, we don't intend to ask for, of course, all the ballots to inspect. It's going to be a limited inspection.
Well, I guess the way to go about it would be to file your statement and then your
Why would it be a
request, and
limited
then
inspection?
The other side can respond.
Look at
And,
all the ballots.
You can provide that timely. So,
Will do,
Your Honor.
yes, Mr.
Your Honor,
Liddy.
Thomas Liddy from Maricopa County and the Maricopa County Recorder. My clients are in possession of the ballots and have legal responsibilities to guard them as such. And so if there's only going to be only one person there from the defendant's side, I think that should either be from the Secretary of State or the governor-elect, but Maricopa County will necessarily have to be physically present to administer the viewing of the ballots and to, well, they're in our possession. We've got some responsibilities with regard to that, Your Honor.
That's understood by plaintiffs, and we don't object to that.
In fact, that I'm not sure how that might work out with the court appointing somebody, but my concern is more appropriately maintaining the
Anonymity.
chain of custody or the sanctity of the ballots that we've got. So I'll let you go ahead and file your request, Mr. Blem, and then the defendants can file their.
All right, so that's good news, guys. So it looks like it's going to be going on December 19th, 20th, and 21st, or 19th, 21st, 22nd. I do like the fact that this is moving forward. That's definitely a step, because a lot of these cases have been thrown out for standing before anybody's even looked at them. So I'm gonna keep an eye on this, because I find it very interesting. This is something that is the making of history that we're witnessing right now. Whether you are on one side or the other side, one thing you can't argue is that this is definitely making of history. And 100 years from now, if the history books are written accurately, this time in America, this will be one of those times where you read about it, 100, 200 years from now, and it'll definitely fill up pages of the history books. I hope the right thing is done, whatever the case is. I would like to see the facts and the evidence, and I would like for a judge to rule on the merits of the case, not standing. There's definitely standing from Fincham and Lake and a lot of the people in Arizona, based on what I've seen so far. So hopefully this will continue, and we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna keep an eye on this, and I'm new to this whole streaming thing, so I apologize if it doesn't look professional. I'm not professional. I just downloaded OBS the other day and I'm still fumbling around through it, but I'm not a boomer, so I understand a lot of the technology, but I am on a individual laptop and don't have any other cameras or streaming devices, so it's all done on one thing. But yeah, I'm gonna check this out. Hopefully on the 19th, they'll continue to stream this so I can check it out, and I will bring it to you. If you like what you saw today, please comment or like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And we'll check you out later. And thanks for stopping by, and God bless.